Hey guys, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of the Supergirl Season 5 review series. And today I'm going to be talking about episode 15, Reality Bytes. And this one was a little bit different to previous episodes. I would probably call this more of a spotlight episode, and we got to see one of Kara's closest friends take the lead for the story. That doesn't necessarily mean that Kara Danvers wasn't featured in this episode at all. She was, but she wasn't the main focus. The main focus for this episode was Nia Nal, otherwise known as the Dreamer, and we got to see her deal with a threat to the trans community, which seeks to erase the superhero by forcing her to step aside, and we actually got to see her step her game up and is willing to do whatever it takes to protect the people she cares about. So this was a very good episode, and we got to learn more about Dreamer, and we got to learn more about what she does when she's not with Supergirl, and we got to see her deal with her own issues, because we've always seen Supergirl deal with things. We've not really seen how others deal with their problems. I mean, we've seen in the past, we've seen an episode or two where we saw John Jones dealing with issues with his brother from Mars, but we didn't really get to see much of Nia, so I'm really glad that she was showcased to the fullest, and this was a really good episode. As I said, a little bit different to stuff we've seen in the past from the show, but very enjoyable. Really liked this a lot, and it was very interesting and quite, how should I put it? I wouldn't necessarily say dark. I would say it was very emotional. I would probably put this episode as one of the more emotional ones of season 5, and it was very well done, and the story was very well told. So, let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about episode 15, Reality Bytes. So, this episode we see takes place 2 months in the North Pole, with everybody enjoying what appears to be Christmas. It looks like this is a Christmas sort of holiday, so it looks like it's Christmas, where we see a man named Mr. Bytes is in the virtual tech simulation, and he tries to end it, but he's unable to do so. Meanwhile, in the Obsidian lab, Kelly wakes him up manually, and she discovers that their failsafe simulation has failed. She assures him the glitch will be fixed before the Platinum launch. The Leviathan old lady comes to complete his exit interview. Nia's roommate, Yvette, tired of her staying home moping around after Brainy, decides to drag her out for the night to meet her own boyfriend, Angus, at the club. Nia has a weird premonition of blood on her hands. Yvette goes outside to meet Angus, where she's instead followed by a guy who approached her at the bar. So this is kind of more like a classic catfish sort of scenario. And turns out that he's really Angus, but Nia, having another bad premonition, rushes outside and finds Yvette injured with an anti-trans message for Dreamer. Nia later tells Kara that she will handle him her own way because Kara cannot understand the extent of the violence the trans community faces on a daily basis. So this is kind of, as I said at the beginning, Dreamer is now going to take more of the lead, and it made for a very interesting change of dynamic. Nia gives Kara and the cops a few hours to handle things before she does it her way. Al, the owner of the alien bar, seeks out Alex and Jean for help finding his brother Trevor, who went missing after going to Obsidian's Platinum Virtual Las Vegas, where he participated in something called the Escape Palace. Meanwhile, Jean does real-world investigation, and Alex goes virtual with Kelly's assistance. It turns out that the Escape Palace, where Trevor allegedly went, is a new user-created edition. It's meant to tap into the player's worst fears and can be very difficult to escape. She discovers that the people there are being tortured and the failsafe has been disabled, which is why they've not been able to get out of the virtual reality simulation. Alex manages to break them out and reveals that the new player in the group, Richard, brought them there before. Jean discovers that Richard's wife has been having a VR affair with Trevor and that the escape palace is his way of getting revenge. Alex locates Trevor but ends up having to fight with Richard. She manages to defeat him and knocks him out of the simulation and is able to let Kelly and John know about Trevor so he can successfully be rescued into the real world. After making an upswipes account to lure out Yvette's attacker, Dreamer shows up to confront him. He tries to attack her but she quickly bests him and is about to kill him when Supergirl talks her out of it, reminding her that she has her friends to help her fight for her community. Later, Nia breaks down on Kara and admits to being overwhelmed by everything. Brainy gives the police a file full of information so they can deal with the attacks of violence against the trans community. Also, we see Alex is struggling with her new weapon that Jean presented to her. It works perfectly for her in the virtual world, but not so much in the real world. Her trip into VR also reveals to her some virtual options, including a world where she is Supergirl, and one in which she's a mother. Despite having reported the glitch in Obsidian Platinum months ago, it clearly still exists, something that disturbs Kelly. Richard, having been left in some sort of catatonic state thanks to the Obsidian Platinum, is sent off to some strange storage room that we saw in the previous episode, where the old Leviathan lady has many others like him stored away. Alex receives a phone call from her mother Eliza at the end of the episode. They have finally located Jeremiah Danvers and he's dead, much to Alex and Kara's devastation. This was, as I said, overall a very emotional episode, and learning about what happened to Kara's foster father at the end of the episode, Jeremiah Danvers, who, as we all know, was played by Dean Cain back in the first 2 seasons of Supergirl. It has been killed off, which is a real shame because I would have liked to have seen Jeremiah Danvers make one final appearance at least, but it is what it is. But overall, this was a very good episode, very emotional, and I really enjoyed seeing the Dreamer being showcased, at least for half of the episode. I would say about the second half that she was showcased to the fullest, and this was very good. It was very well written, very well played out, and sets up things nicely for the next episode, which is episode 16, which I'm really looking forward to talking about because it's something that I'd wanted to see for quite a long time, but the way it's been executed is a little bit different to how I wanted to see it play out. But it's a really fun episode and I'm really looking forward to talking about that. So I'm going to wrap this up now. What did you think of episode 15? Did you think it was good? What was your thoughts on the Dreamer taking the lead for this episode? Did you think it was done well? Is this something you'd like to see with other characters in future episodes? What's your thoughts on Jeremiah Danvers being killed off? Was you shocked, or was you not surprised, or did you think it could have been handled differently? You know what to do. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will be back next time for another edition of the Supergirl Season 5 review series, where I'll be talking about episode 16, which, as I said earlier, I'm very much looking forward to talking about, and that should be a lot of fun. So until next time, take care everybody and stay safe.